My name is Quentin Hicks, and I'm the principal of the Western Branch High School in the Chesapeake Division, and I am one of the principal liaisons for the Virginia Student Councils Association, and it's my distinct pleasure to introduce, as I have in the past few years, Ms. Lyn Fiscus. She joined the VASSP team in the 2021 as the director of the Virginia Student Council Association, bringing a wealth of experience in student leadership development to the directorship. She currently serves as the extracurricular specialist for the Loudoun County Public Schools and represents the Eastern Region of the Board of Directors of the National Association of Student Activities. Lyn previously served as a leadership and social studies teacher and student government advisor at South Lakes High School in the Fairfax County School Division from 2015 to 2022, and was an active advisor in the VSCA during that time. Prior to her teaching role, she was an editor for 12 years, from 1995 to 2007, of the award-winning Leadership for Student Activities, published the Student Council and the National Honor Society Advisors by the National Association of Secondary School Principals. She later served as an independent consultant to various student leadership groups of both the national and state levels, including DECA, Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America, Technology Student Association, Skills USA, the Alliance for Student Activities, and the National Organizations for Youth Safety, the National Middle School Association, and State Student Council Association in North Carolina, Massachusetts, Texas, Pennsylvania, Indiana, Oregon, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Nevada. She is an author of various books and publications, and she is the national recipient of the 2005 Earl Run Award given by the National Association for the Student Activities in the recognition of outstanding leadership and commitment to promotion of excellence in student activities. And at this time, we'd like to present Ms. Lyn Fiscus. Let's give her a round of applause.
Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing? Good. How many people are glad school's out for the summer? Yeah. Gives you an opportunity to slow the pace a little bit, reflect some, make plans for next year. One of the great things about being in education, you get a clean start every fall. Can I see a show of hands of how many of you guys had a perfectly fabulous school year last year and you wouldn't change a thing? Okay. How many of you faced a few challenges last year? All right. So I would be willing to wager that some of the challenges you faced included things like chronic absenteeism, low student achievement, mental health and well-being of students, low morale among staff members and difficulty retaining teachers, and establishing or maintaining a positive school culture. I'm sure you've tried many strategies for dealing with these challenges with varying levels of success. And I'm here today to offer a tool for your strategies toolbox that is often overlooked and that can affect all of these areas. Given the history that Quentin gave you, you can probably guess. Your student activities program. Participation in student government, clubs, performing arts, athletics, and other student organizations is an often overlooked aspect of a successful school. Many people view this participation as fluff, an extra part of the school experience. But my 40 years experience working with student activities tells me otherwise, and it's backed up by a wealth of research that shows students who regularly participate in even one activity feel more connected to the school and show positive outcomes in such things as grades, attendance, civic engagement, skill development, and feelings of self-worth, all of which would help with the challenges mentioned. Let's take them one at a time, starting with student achievement. Research by groups such as the National Federation of State High School Associations and the National Center for Education Statistics shows that students who participate in co-curricular activities have higher grades, better attendance, and fewer discipline problems. Participating in organized student activities and clubs provides students with a strong connection to the school and leads to increased commitment to school and a decreased dropout rate. Part of my job in Loudoun County involves working with the student activities and engagement coordinators in each of our high schools. Two of these coordinators decided this year to see if what the research says holds true for our schools. Using attendance and gradebook data from our student information system, cross-referenced with lists of participants in clubs, athletics, and fine arts programs, one school found that students engaged in any of the three groups have nearly 1.5 additional A's per student and also a larger number of B's per student than those students who are not engaged. Students who are not engaged in any activities have more than 3 times the number of D's and more than 5 times the average number of F's as students who are engaged. The findings were similar at the second school. These improvements in academic achievement and behavior may be the result of involved students viewing school more positively. In addition to grades, student activity advisors know that much of the work that goes on in their organizations prepares students for college and careers by giving them hands-on opportunities to develop competency in the 5 C's of the profile of a Virginia graduate: critical thinking, collaboration, communication, creative thinking, and citizenship. Consider the work your student leaders will go through to plan fall activities like homecoming, and you'll see the important skill building behind the fun. They demonstrate creative thinking when they brainstorm to come up with the homecoming theme and apply it to all the activities of the week. Collaboration when they work together to make their activities happen and coordinate with other groups planning fall activities. Critical thinking when they evaluate how last year's activities went and find ways to improve them, or think through all the details involved in putting on an event like a bonfire, a dance, a pep rally, or a parade. Communication when they work with a committee of people to plan and carry out an event and mediate conflict between group members. And citizenship when they assess campus needs to plan for a service project. These are just a few examples of how activities serve as a learning lab for developing competency in the 5 C's and preparing students for college and careers. If workers who can solve problems, think on their feet, adapt to change, gather information, communicate effectively, and work in teams are what's needed in the workplace of the 21st century, then participants in organized student activities have an edge over students who aren't involved.
To school with new
The
ideas
authentic
and
learning
rekindle
that takes place in
enthusiasm for the
student
work of
activities will
building
help student
a
leaders in
positive
whatever
school
path
community.
they choose after high
Hi
school.
everyone, I'm Ainsley Wood.
Back
and
to
I'm
your
the current
challenges.
Virginia Student
Let's take a quick look at chronic
Council
absenteeism.
President, and I'm here to tell you.
This is a complex problem, as you know, but reasons for absences typically fall into 4 broad categories: barriers to attendance, aversion to school, disengagement from school, and misconceptions about the impact of absences. The aversion to school and disengagement from school are both areas that involvement in activities can have a positive impact. You can all probably think of examples of student athletes who come to school so they can play a sport they love. It's not as obvious, but students who are in extracurricular clubs and organizations feel similar connections. In the research my student activities and engagement coordinators conducted this year, they found that students who are not engaged in school activities have, on average, more than 4 additional days of school absences than students who are engaged. Nearly 20% of the students who are not engaged have been flagged as chronically absent for the year. This is more than twice the percentage of students labeled as chronically absent who are engaged in student activities. Mental health and well-being of students is another area where your student activities program can have a positive effect. The recent Common Sense Media survey, The State of Kids and Families in America 2024, found that teens point to mental health as a critical education challenge. Fully 65% of teens rate the mental health of kids and teenagers in their community as just fair or poor. By providing students with opportunities to connect with peers and faculty members in a positive way, the student activities arena is the perfect venue for creating a campus where all students are encouraged to thrive. Engagement with a student activity can provide students a sense of belonging and purpose, which can help them feel connected to their school and community and reduce feelings of isolation and loneliness. Personalize your school environment by asking your student council leaders to plan activities that will involve every type of student. Try a poetry slam, a video game or chess tournament, student-created film festival, chalk art competition, battle of the bands, a gingerbread house building contest, or your school's version of an Iron Chef competition, for a few examples. Encourage student leaders to think beyond what's always been done and reach out to engage everyone. And if your school doesn't already have a process in place for students to start a new club, if they have an interest that's not being served by the existing groups, consider establishing one. You can also use your activities program to increase student voice at your school. Education Week notes that some districts are prioritizing equity, student involvement, and student voice as key components of their mental health strategy. When the mental health solutions come from the students' peers, not just administrators, it's a much more powerful solution. Work with your elected student council to use resources like those found at student-focused Work to Be Well to build in opportunities for students to be involved in discussion and decision-making about mental health initiatives. And if your student council isn't currently taken seriously as the voice of the student body, you and I should talk about ways to revamp your student council. According to Ed Week, students' mental health is also negatively impacting teachers who are struggling to figure out how to respond. In fact, more than half of teachers say that students' declining mental health is stressing educators' capacity to manage their classrooms. It may also be contributing to teachers' own feelings about their work, as more than a third of educators say they are dissatisfied with their jobs. This brings us to the challenge of low staff morale and difficulty retaining teachers, and it's one more area where student activities can have a positive impact. By addressing the areas already mentioned, morale is bound to improve. But when I think of teacher morale, I'm reminded of a quote by the Roman poet Ovid. "The spirited horse, which will try to win the race of its own accord, will run even faster if encouraged." In addition to dealing with the very real issues teachers are concerned about, enlist your student leaders to plan some genuine efforts to show faculty and staff members how much they are appreciated on a regular basis. Don't just wait for Teacher Appreciation Day. On a side note, I recently surveyed activities advisors in my district, and one of the questions I asked was, what motivates you to work with students in a club or organization? Because I'm sure it's not the huge extra duty stipends they're getting. I got answers like, it has been one of the most rewarding experiences of my career to work with students who are so motivated, service-oriented, and passionate. Helping students to develop their critical thinking and leadership skills in many ways is far more rewarding and impactful than simply helping students to achieve their best grades. And getting to know the students and planning activities with them helps me to see how truly creative and smart these kids are, and that brings me joy. So getting teachers involved with student activity groups as advisors seems to help teacher morale as well. Finally, we get to the challenge of establishing or maintaining a positive school culture. Research shows that kids come to school more if they feel accepted and engaged. Help them find their niche. Foster a sense of community where every student feels valued and supported. What do your student events look like, and what are students saying about them? Increase engagement by encouraging your student leaders to seek feedback from the student body and plan even better, more inclusive events and activities next time. Obviously, I've simplified some complex issues in the interest of not going over the time allotted to me. Randy's standing back there with the hook, ready to pull me off. And I don't think student activities alone will solve all the challenges you are facing. But I hope I've stimulated some ideas for you to know how your activities program can be an integral piece of the plan you are assembling to deal with your challenges. The typical goals for student groups include such things as increasing school spirit, improving faculty-student relations, recognizing student achievements, and involving more students. Each of these likely has a direct correlation to one of your goals. I encourage you to be intentional about enlisting student leaders to help accomplish your administrative goals. Meet with your student leaders and discuss how the projects they typically plan contribute to achieving broader school goals. Help them understand that there's a higher purpose behind what they are doing, and watch their youthful enthusiasm and passion to make a difference improve your school. Speaking of higher purposes, just as VASSP brings you all together to share ideas, support each other, and develop professionally, the Virginia Student Councils Association does the same for student leaders and their advisors. As the oldest state student council association in the United States, VSCA has a long history of student leadership development and providing support for student council advisors. If your school isn't already an active member of VSCA, I encourage you to give us a try and see for yourself the benefits of joining.